Kamusta na po kayo? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Biglaan po itong ating live. So tingnan natin kung ready kayo. Meron tayong biglang broadcast ngayon tungkol sa nangyari pong pagbangga ng barko ng China sa ating Coast Guard. Okay, pero bigyan po ninyo ako ng idea, feedback kung naririnig po ninyo ako or anong tawag dito. Okay yung audio natin, mahalaga yun eh. Yung audio ko, kung inyong ko naririnig, bago tayo officially magsimula. Ayan, nandyan si Ronald Quezada, Josepa Oliva Lopez, Sherwin Lopez. Yes, okay po yung aking signal. Okay na po, sir. Ayan, Sonia Lasarte. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you. Therapy ni, Tiffany Mendoza. Sandra Valdez. Thank you. Yan, dito sa kabila. Sige nga, dito sa Facebook. So tulad ng sinabi ko, biglaan po ito, pero alam naman ninyo, pag may mga major development, may mga malalaking, may mga breaking news o mga kaganapan sa ating bansa, ay atin ho talagang gagawin ang live ng biglaan kahit walang announcement. Pasensya na po kayo. Alam pong alanganing oras, mga sa Amerika, Canada, natutulog na sila ngayon. At sa parte naman ng Middle East at saka Europe, baliktad sa kanila ngayon umaga. Pero mahalaga pong may paliwanag natin at matalakay at maiparinig ko sa inyo itong damdamin ng gobyerno with President Marcos, military, Department of National Defense, Philippine Coast Guard, at siguro tayong taong bayan na rin dito ho sa sinadya ang, di ba kayo na umaga, sinabi ko doon sa ating live, intentional. Ayun na, yung unang assessment ng Malacanang, intentional, sinadya na tayo ay banggain ng mga Chinese Coast Guard, yung ating mga nagsusupply, resupply ng pagkain, medicine at gamot sa ating mga sundalo. So yan ang dahil kung bakit tayo nag-live ngayon. Salamat po, Abilino Albiar, thank you. Salvador Badwa, Ruben Iquilos, salamat. Marcelino Laping, Ralese Carlinga, salamat po. Sherma Velasquez, thank you. Rodolfo Balbuena, alam ko, iba yung oras nyo. Pasensya na po kayo at naabala ko kayo bigla ngayon. Pero mahalagang inyong marinig ang opisyal na paninindigan at paniniwala. Nagkaroon po kasi ng emergency command conference ang Pangulong Marcos kaninang umaga dito sa Pilipinas, ang Chief Executive at Commander-in-Chief ng ating militar. Dahil nga ho dito sa nangyaring matinding ginawa ng Chinese Coast Guard sa ating Coast Guard at mga magre-resupply. So Mila, Billamin, salamat. Akil Acolto, Estrella Rosales, Jude Batan, salamat. Wilma Remo Bautista. So live tayo ngayon muli ng alanganing oras dito po sa Pilipinas, alas 3:28 ng hapon. Ngayon pa rin pong October 23, araw ng Lunes. Kasi nangyari po yung pananadya, intentional, yan ang sinabi ng Malacanang, intentional na binangga yung ating mga barko kahapon ng umaga, Sunday, dito sa atin. So, Tita De La Cruz, Roel Chowa, thank you. So, hindi ko na patatagalin. Gusto ko pong iparinig sa inyo ang opisyal na pahayag ng Malacanang tungkol dito para mismo kayo na ho yung makarinig. Okay, sandali lang po at importanteng marinig ito mula po kay Secretary Gilbert Teodoro, Department of National Defense Secretary. Nandun ang kanina sa command conference at kamarap sa press conference, General Romeo Browner, Chief of Staff ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, Secretary Anyo, National Security Advisor, Coast Guard, Navy, at mga matataas pang opisyalis ng ating pamahalaan. Pakinggan po ninyo ito, ang opisyal na pahayag ng Malacanang after command conference ng Pangulo. Galit na ang Pangulo, galit na ang military, galit na ang Department of National Defense, at may panawagan pa sila sa taong bayan. Pakinggan po ninyo ito. Para sa bayan, para sa mga Pilipino, may paninindigan, may pagmamahal at dapat magmahal.
Teodoro, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, fellow countrymen, we have a prepared statement. The President called a special command conference this morning of the National Security and Defense Cluster in order to be briefed and to give his guidance on the latest violation by China of the sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. The Philippine government views the latest aggression by China as a blatant violation of international law. China has no legal right or authority to conduct law enforcement operations in our territorial waters and in our exclusive economic zone. We are taking this incident seriously at the highest levels of government. The use by China of brute force behind disingenuous facades necessitates this course of action. We called for this press conference to give you a clear and factual narrative of what transpired. The Chinese government is deliberate of what transpired. The Chinese government is deliberately obfuscating the truth. The Philippine Navy and the Philippine Coast Guard are here to give you an undistorted narration of the illegal acts of the Chinese vessels. In short, on or about 6:04 in the morning of Sunday, October the 22nd, 2023, while conducting legitimate rotation and resupply operations within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia vessels, in blatant violation of international law, harassed and intentionally hit Unaiza May 2 and Philippine Coast Guard vessel BRP Capra. This occurred within the 200-mile exclusive economic zone of the Philippines, which China has no jurisdiction, authority, or right to conduct any operations whatsoever. This is a serious escalation of the illegal activities conducted by the Chinese government in the West Philippine Sea in complete disregard of any norm or convention of international law. Chinese Ambassador Huang Xilian has been summoned today by Secretary Enrique Manalo of the Department of Foreign Affairs to condemn the reckless and illegal act of the Chinese government. Likewise, Philippine Ambassador to China, Jaime Flor Cruz, has been instructed to convey the same to the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Philippine Coast Guard has been directed to proceed swiftly with its maritime investigation in accordance with international maritime safety regulations. We acknowledge the support of our allies and like-minded nations such as the United States, Japan, Australia, Germany, Canada, the Netherlands, the United Kingdom, and the European Union in condemning China's aggression and expansionist actions. We call on our people to stand behind the government in executing our constitutional mandate to secure the national interest in the West Philippine Sea. Thank you.
Yan o. Magkakaroon po ng question and answer dyan. Yan po yung sa boses ni Secretary Teodoro. So, intentional
Vice Admiral.
ang sinasabi nila. Nandali, Vice Admiral, ito naman, magpapakita naman ito yung mismo actual na kaganapan. Ayan o. Yan po yung, sa Malacanang po ginagawa yan. Galing po yan sa RTBM, Radio TV Malacanang. Kasi after nga po nung pagkatapos nga po nung command conference
narration
na pinatawag ng Pangulo
during the last rotation and resupply mission in Ayungin.
Ayan.
On 21 October, that is last Saturday, at about 2:55 in the morning, our team consisting of two vessels, Unaiza May 1 and Unaiza May 2, left Oster Bay for a legitimate roaring mission in Ayungin Shoal. Upon reaching Sigatuna Shoal, the two Filipino vessels were joined by two Philippine Coast Guard and two Philippine Navy vessels. But as early as reaching the vicinity of Sigatuna Shoal,
Yun na.
it was already observed that a Chinese Navy corvette started appearing in the horizon and started shadowing the movement of our supply vessels. So along this route, the shadowing continued, and while the vessels are nearing Escoda Shoal, the number of Chinese vessels increased, including the presence and the arrival of Chinese militia vessels. Then, approximately 6 nautical miles to the entrance of Ayungin Shoal, UM2 was hit at the rear side of at her rear side, starboard rear side, causing damage to the vessel. Unaiza May 1 was able to complete her RORE mission, was able to evade the militia vessels, and went alongside LT-57 to complete her mission. While Unaiza May 2 was restricted in her ability to maneuver, the Chinese vessels restricted her maneuverability by sailing very close to the port side or the left side and the starboard side or the right side of the vessel. So she had no option but to find a route back eastward towards the direction of Sabina Shoal. At around 6:04, a Coast Guard vessel intentionally hit her rear side, causing damage to a fantail post. In the end, UM1 finished her resupply mission, but UM2 had to go back to mainland Palawan. At about 8 o'clock also, in the same morning, the Coast Guard, our Coast Guard vessel was hit by a Chinese militia
dalawang barko
vessel
ang binangga.
on her left side, causing dent to the Philippine Coast Guard vessel.
Ayan,
We can show you a video clip of the incident.
Ayan, anyway, pinakikita
This
po yung
is
video.
Unaiza May 2. This was immediately after the collision. The Chinese Coast Guard hit the right side of Unaiza May 2. We have another video clip. This is the Philippine Coast Guard vessel, and you notice how close
Pero po yung naglabasan ng mga
the
video
Chinese
kahapon pa,
militia vessel was.
yung pagbangga. So yun po, pinakikita ni yung Vice Admiral natin ng Navy, yung nag-explain po sa harap ng media sa
The
Malacanang.
Philippine Coast Guard vessel
dito.
suffered
Pinakikita lang po
some
yung
damage
actual na pagbangga.
at the rear portion.
Ayan. Halos picture lang ipinakita nila eh. Ayan.
Those
Ayan. Ayan, halos picture lang. Mamaya po,
these were what
hindi
transpired
mo gano'ng kahaba
yesterday
nito.
morning.
Merong press conference, merong question and answer. Maganda yung mga sagot. Maganda po yung, tapahin po yung mga sagot, yung question and answer.
Thank you, Vice Admiral.
Maganda yung sagot ni
Adas.
Secretary
So,
Teodoro.
now we have
Lutang na lutang
Admiral,
yung
Galit.
galit, tapang at talino tungkol dito sa isang
On
ito.
orders of the President, the
Ayan, ito
Philippine
naman
Coast
yung
Guard
si
will focus
bagong
on the
commandant
conduct
ng
of
Philippine
marine
Coast Guard.
incident investigation. As we speak, I have already issued the directive to our commander the Coast Guard District, Palawan, to conduct maritime incident investigation immediately. We will focus on determining the extent of damage or damages done or incurred by the vessels involved. But at this point, it is very, very clear that the two incidents are violations of collision regulations. The very regulation we Coast Guards are expected to enforce. So we find it unfortunate or ironic that a fellow Coast Guard will violate the law where they themselves are supposed to enforce. So you'll be submitting the report of our investigation through our department, the Department of Transportation, to the President for final disposition. Thank you.
Tuloy 5 days yung binigay para yun sa investigasyon ng Coast Guard bago
And
ilabas ang...
now, our panel will
Ito na
take
yung
some
question and
questions.
answer.
The first
Pakinggan niyo po
question
niyo
is
yung
from
pagsagot
Kenneth Paciente
ni
of
Secretary Teodoro
TV4.
tungkol dito.
Hi, sirs. Good afternoon po. Kay Sec. Teodoro po. Sir, there is a reported discussion on the Code of Conduct of the West Philippine Sea in Beijing. What can you say about this, sir?
Well, I think it is really very ironic that on this very day, there is the start of the second round of discussions on the proposed Code of Conduct, which is hosted by China. Whereas just yesterday, they were in blatant disregard of international law. And within our jurisdiction, likewise. So what kind of good faith can we expect from them? And that we will wait for our representatives to that Code of Conduct meeting to disclose or to report to our people. But I repeat once again that what happened yesterday was a serious and egregious violation of international law and an escalation of their expansionist and aggressive action. And yet, today, they are hosting a proposed declaration of a negotiation on the proposed declaration of Code of Conduct. Now, what kind of message is this signaling? I want to know, and we deserve undistorted answers, the truth from the government of China, because once again we repeat, they have neither jurisdiction nor authority to conduct any sort of governmental operations within our 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. And no justification they can give will stand the test of credence before our own people and more importantly before the whole world.
Yun.
Maris Umali, GMA 7.
Okay.
Sir, it was already clear from your statement a while ago that the president called this for the command conference because he views this incident as a blatant violation of China. So, by China. So, after directing the investigation, what happens now? Because even the commandant, sir, a while ago mentioned that it is very clear that this is a violation. What happens next?
Well, we will not talk about international operational matters.
Okay. Good.
We will not discuss that. China does not discuss operational matters, neither will we. But we are here to really decry in the strongest possible terms this egregious violation and illegal act within the 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, and the obfuscation of the truth by China's distorting the story to fit its own ends, and the duplicity of China in claiming to be peaceful and claiming to be friendly while resorting to these aggressive acts.
Just a follow-up. Can you explain any potential consequences of these
We will
escalating
not
risks?
go into any operational details.
Operational na nga yun eh.
Thank you, sir.
National
Marisa
security po
Harvey,
nakataya,
G5.
kaya bawal.
Microphone, please.
Pag national security ang issue, hindi pwedeng i-reveal
Ay, sir,
ang mga
magandang
plano.
hapon po. Sir, once again, ganun uli yung pahayag ng China saying or making an appeal to the Philippine government na tuparin yung pangako natin. Is it clear what promise yung tinutukoy ng China dito once again? And again, sinabi nila na nag-practice sila ng restraint and patience when this happened. Your thoughts on this, sir?
Well, in law, we have a principle called the thing speaks for itself. Was that restraint? I don't think so. Any unbiased person with a modicum of reason will see that this is not restraint. And there was another attempt to distort the narrative by saying there was a supposed promise. That has been put to rest already, that there is no promise, and if ever there was such was, if ever, which we do not accept, rescinded. We cannot compromise within our 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone within the bounds of our constitution. Our constitution is clear about our territorial integrity and sovereignty, of which there can admit of no compromise, particularly in the face of the arbitral award. So their preface to their statements, and their statements are to us a distortion of the truth.
Next, we have Ann Soberano, Bomborin, Radyo.
Okay. Live po yung
Sir, good
kanina lang ho ito
afternoon.
nangyari sa
Ang
Malacanang.
tanong ko po is, bukod po sa paghahain ng diplomatic protest, ay magsasampa po rin ba tayo ng kaso sa United Nations General Assembly?
Hindi ko wala po sa aming jurisdiction na pag-usapan yan. Ito lang po na nakaloob po sa aming statement ang aming maaring ihayag sa kasalukuyan.
Sir, with this incident sa West Philippine Sea, panahon na ba para pagtuloyin na natin itong mga gagawing development sa ating Pag-asa Island?
Magiging operational matter nga lahat itong mga katanungan po nila. Hinihimok na lang po namin na ang pagkakaisa ng ating bansa sa likod ng gobyerno sa ating mga hakbang upang i-secure ang territorial integrity at sovereignty ng ating republika. At kaya po iminabuti ng ating pamahalaan sa liderato po ng ating Pangulo na maghayag ngayong araw na ito upang sa ganon hindi na po kumalat ang fake news at anumang mga espekulasyon. Wala po tayong pwedeng gawing espekulasyon kung anong mga susunod na hakbangin dahil wala pa po kaming hinahayag. Kaya maniwala na lang po sa ating gobyerno, huwag po itong maging ugat ng pagtatanim ng fake news ng China at ng iba pa upang tayo'y magkawatak-watak o magkadebate ng malaki sa mga issue na ganito. Dahil sa oras po na ito, kailangan po ng pagkakaisa na ating bansa.
Sir, last na po, ano po ang magiging decisive action po ng Philippine government dito sa ginawa
Militar.
ng
Operational matter po yan
Operation
sa
matter, di pwede
inulit-ulit
talaga
ko.
sagutin niya.
Ngayon po, kailangan kundinahin ng buong mundo at ng bansa ang illegal at mapaniil na mga aksyon ng Chinese government na lapag sa kahit na anong norm ng international law, kahit saan libro hanapin.
We have time for one last question. It's Harley Valbuena, DZME.
Natanong na rin po yung question ko pero I'll just ask another question. Sir, bukod po doon sa utos sa PCG to investigate the matter, meron pa po bang ibang directive si Pangulo doon po sa command conference kanina?
Yung tatlo pong sinabi natin, ang pagkundina, to take it seriously. Naturally, the government is working behind it, but it's not working behind it, but the government's working very hard in its constitutionally mandated task to secure the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the Republic of the Philippines. Although we will not discuss operational matters, our diplomatic authorities, the DFA, has summoned Ambassador Huang Xilian not only to give a protest but to condemn the reckless and illegal act of the Chinese government. And lastly, the Philippine Coast Guard has been directed to proceed swiftly with its maritime investigation in accordance with Philippine law. Other matters are purely operational. At uulitin ko po, pagkaisa po tayo bilang isang bansa and hikayatin po natin ang buong mundo na kondinahin ang paglalabag at pang-aabuso sa international law at sa paghihikayat na magising ang ating mga kababayan na kung tunay na peaceful ang hangarin ng China, hindi maglalabag na ganito. At hindi maglilinlang na ganito ang China sa ating mga kababayan at sa buong mundo.
Sir, how did the President took this incident po? Kumbaga, ano yung
The
unang reaction
President
niya?
is taking this very seriously. And the President is, that's it. He's taking this very, very seriously, so much so that he called the special command conference this morning. And if you will read the statement, the highest levels of government are giving serious weight to this incident, given the false narrative of China, given the more egregious and aggressive behavior that they display, and given that we cannot take this or tolerate this kind of action or take it lightly, or neither take it lightly nor tolerate it.
So we still have room for one more question
Oh, pahabol pa.
from from Ella Hermonio of Nikkei.
Yan o. Kasi
Good
foreign
afternoon,
media na po
sirs.
yan.
Regarding the probe on the incident, do you have a timeline on when do you project the results will be out?
Kasi sinunod
And
kanina
of
yan.
course, in a few weeks' time, there will be another war mission. So, what measures are you taking or will you take to hopefully avoid
Operational
this
matter na
incident? Because, of
naman.
course, after this,
Hindi pwedeng
we will-
sagutin yan.
Question that's an operational matter which I will not discuss. On the first
Or security
part of
kasi
the
po yan,
question,
bawal.
I'll allow Admiral Gavan to respond because there are established procedures for that.
Commandant
Looking at
Gaban,
5 days
Coast Guard,
to
sagot.
complete the investigation.
And to whom will you submit it, sir? And
We will submit it to the President through the Department of Transportation.
will be released publicly as well?
That I cannot answer. Thank you.
Isa lang. Meron pang isa, alam ko.
Sir, you were referring to, when you say China's obfuscating, distorting the truth, are you just referring to statements from the Chinese Coast Guard, or are we referring to perhaps a disinformation network that China is deploying for this?
Well, principally, we're referring to the statement that they released, right? But we see a pattern of their statements, as being spinning a narrative. And this follows a pattern, not only their statement regarding the incident, but the 9-dash line, the 10-dash line, which is incredulous.
Okay, this concludes our press briefing.
So,
Thank you very much,
Mali na
Secretary.
po yan, ha? So, well, para lang ho maintindihan po nung, saan ba ito? Dito ka lang siguro kakabit. Total, natidig naman ninyo. Madinig ba? Anyway, kung dito. Dito na lang, para sigurado. Para po sa inyong kalaman, pagka operational matter, ayan, pinag-aralan namin yan, nung reporter pa kami, pinag-aaralan yan. Pag operational matter, bawal i-discuss, bawal talakayin. Kasi national security ang pinangangalagaan dyan. Narito po yan. Halimbawa, may plano na. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin yung plano mo kasi malalaman ng kabila. Parte yan ng operational na plano. Siyempre, saan ka naman halimbawa, ito lang para maintindihan kasi yung iba, puro daw salita, wala sa gawa. Intindihin nyo kasi, medyo itaas po ninyo ng bahagyaan level ng usapan. Huwag baduy, huwag pilosopo, huwag yung pilosopihin itong isyong ito, napakaseryoso pong problema ito ng ating bansa. Hindi ito problema lang ng Pangulo. Problema ito ng bansa. Kaya pagka operational matter, hindi pwedeng sabihin. At saka itong ginagawang ito yung the best move. Kondinahin, ihayag ang sama ng loob at paglabag sa mga batas. Yung operational matter, hindi na natin alam yun. Makikita lang natin siguro yan kung ano kanilang plano. Di ba? Ganun po. Huwag kayong masyadong magmadali, huwag kayong masyadong mapanghusga. Please lang po ang panawagan ng pamahalaan, intindihin natin sila, suportahan natin sila. Dahil ang pinaglalaban ng Estado para sa teritoryo ng Pilipinas. Hindi po yan para sa kailang pamilya lang. Pamilya ng lahat ng Pilipino. Ulit-ulit namang sinasagot ni Secretary Teodoro na kinundina at kukundinahin ng international community ang nangyayari dahil labag sa batas ang ginawa ng China. Intentional nga eh. Sinadya yung bangga. Although meron pang investigasyon in 5 days, sabi ni Commandant, Admiral at Commandant ng Coast Guard, si Admiral Gaban. In 5 days, gagawa sila ng report, susumiti sa Department of Transportation kasi yun ang boss niya, then ipaparating sa Malacanang. Kaya tinanong, paano ilalabas? Siyempre, Malacanang ang mag-signal niya kung ilalabas o hindi. Pero ilalabas siya kung ano man. Pero hindi pwedeng alam kung kailan. So yung operational matter, yun po ang ibig sabihin yun. Isinasaalang-alang ng Estado kapag ka national security concern, yung operational matter hindi pwedeng ilabas yan. Kasi malalaman ng kalaban. Yan, sinabi ko na. Malalaban ng katunggali ang plano. Ba't mo masasabihin? Ikaw ba? Pag ikaw ba makikipag-boxing, magte-training ka, ipapakita mo sa television ang training mo, di nakakita ng kalaban yung style mo. Di ba? Kita niyo si Manny Pacquiao pag lumalaban, nakatago. Off the record, walang camera, walang video, ang habang nag-iensayo si Manny Pacquiao. Kasi, pag inilabas mo sa public yung ensayo, makikita ng kalaban, di mo papaghandaan ka. Confidential na totoo yan. Top secret. Yung mga military, may background sa military, may background sa ROTC, alam ito sinasabi ko. Kaya ako nililiwanag. Hindi po ako nagagalit. Yung mga badoy, yung mapanghusga na walang alam na kung hindi mang-insulto sa gobyerno at sa taong bayan, hindi nalalaman ito. Sarado ang isip nila. Yun ang dapat nating gisingin. Ha? Kasi kanina may nagsasabi, may nabasa ko dyan, puro salita, wala sa gawa. Anong gusto mo, gera? Pambihira ka, oh. Alam mo ba pag nakipaggera kung ano mangyayari? Baka ikaw, baka yung bulls mo, hindi mo makita pagka nagkagera. Hindi po business ng Pilipino ang gera. Di ba? Hanggat maaari. Kasi buhay ang nakataya. Nakita niyo nangyari sa Israel. Gusto ba niyo gano'n? Natural hindi. Kaya dinadaan ng gobyerno sa pagkondena, paghanap ng kakampi, at tayong mga Pilipino, please lang magkaisa po tayo. Huwag kayong tambalolos. Huwag kayong pro-China. Kasi ginagawa ng gobyernong lahat. Hindi lang tayo makikipag-away kasi hindi natin negosyo yun. Pangalawa, wala tayong laban. Pero hindi ibig sabihin walang laban. Hanggang doon lang tayo, hindi. Kaya nga operational matter eh. Mali natin. Di mag-abang na lang tayo. Di ba sinabi ko na kanina umaga doon sa akin live? Hindi natin pwedeng pangunahan ng Estado. Kaya mula kanina umaga nakirandam ako. Pinakinggan ko mabuti, pinakiramdaman ko ang kailang mga ginagawa. Ayan na. Inilabas na nila yung kailang mga pinag-usapan. Yung operational matter of the record yan, totoo yan. Confidential yan. Confidentiality. Top secret ang operational matter. Para hindi malaman ng kalaban. Yun ang ibig sabihin. Pero yan, very serious daw. Seryosong-seryoso ang Pangulo. Kita mo kahapon lang nangyari. Kanina umaga tumawag ng Special Command Conference. Ibig sabihin, galit na yung Malacanang, seryoso na ang Malacanang, nasaktan ng Malacanang, nasaktan ng mga Pilipino, nag-usap na sila. Yung operational matter, hindi pwedeng i-reveal. Yan, naiintindihan nyo? Tinutulungan ko lang ipaliwanag. Hindi ako tagapagsalita ng gobyerno. Kasi meron pong talagang bupol eh. Hindi maintindihan, nangangantsaw pa kayo. Pilipino ba kayo? Tatanong lang. Pilipino ba yung mga nangangantsaw pa? Di ba pag tayo pinasok ng China, di ba pati kayo may problema, pati yung lahi nyo? Yung mga pro-China dyan, di ba biktima rin kayo? Akala ba nyo kikilalanin kayo ng China na kayo ikakampi niya? Hindi. Di ba ang ugali ng mga yan? Di ba? Eh kung yung European Union, America, Canada, yung mga binanggit kayo ng bansa, Nakiisa sa atin at kinundi na ang China sa ginawang intentional na pagbangga sa mga barko. Tapos tayo mga Pilipino, hindi kayo sasali sa gobyerno sa pinaglalabang ito, nangangantsaw pa kayo. Huwag naman ganoon. Magpaka-Pilipino kayo. Ano man ang mangyari, Pilipino tayo. Ano man ang mangyari, dapat magkaisa tayo. Inulit nga ni Secretary Teodoro, magkaisa tayo na kundinahin niyang maling ginagawang yan ng China. Magkaisa tayo. Dahil tayo ay binubuli, inaargabyado, minamaliit, inaabuso ng China sa kahit anong anggulo ng mga batas, local, national at international law. Di ba? Ilang beses na rin natin tinapik yan. Yun ang sinasabi. Di ba? Yun po yun. Sana naintindihan po ninyo, ha? Yung pong mga nangangantsaw, napakababa ng level ng mga katwiran at argumento, iilan po yan. Huwag kayong pahawa doon. Itaas natin ang level ng usapan. Panindigan natin ang ating teritoryo. Ginagawa ng gobyerno ang kailang obligasyon sa taong bayan at sa estado. Kalimutan natin ang politika rito. Walang politika kapag teritoryo na ang pinag-uusapan. Kayo ba sa loob ng bahay nyo, nag-aaway-away kayo sa kung anong dahilan? Pag pinasok ba ang bahay nyo, hindi kayo makakaisa para labanan yung nangaagaw ng bahay nyo? Di ba? Dapat ganon. Alam naman mag-iwalay pala kayo, inaagawan na kayo. Ganon ang gawin natin, mga Pilipino. Magkaisa dahil pinapasok na tayo. Magkaisa dahil intentional na banabangga tayo. Magkaisa dahil inaagawan na tayo. Yan ang ibig sabihin. Okay? So, operational matter, alam na po ninyo, top secret, confidentiality, hindi pwedeng i-reveal. Diba? Okay? Para naintindihan nyo. Yung please lang po, yung mga Pilipino talagang bopol, talagang kahit anong paliwanag mo, mapurol. Ayaw tanggapin ang paliwanag at karapatan at obligasyon. Doon pa rin sila. Tandaan nyo, hanggang mahaba pang issue ito. Nakita nyo? Minadinig na ba kayong statement mula ho doon sa mga Pilipinong pro-China? Wala. Nag-aabang pa rin sila ng pera. Puro pera. Puro confidential pan ang inaabangan. Inahawi pa rin ng Kongreso at Senado dahil kailangan nila ang pera. Eh ito, kitang-kita na yung kailangan ng military at ng ating gobyerno ng pera kung paano gagamitin operational matter yan, hindi ko na didiscuss. Tapos yung iba dyan, confidential pa ng pinaglalaban. Wow! Hindi naman pera nyo yan. Mahiya naman kayo sa sarili nyo. Nasaan ba mga utak? Tatawa ka na lang. Ay, nako. Sige po. At least, nandyan po kayo. Maraming salamat. Live po tayo sa Facebook and YouTube channel. Dito po sa Mike Abby Opinion. Wala pong opinions, wala pong advisory, pero nandyan po kayo. At huwag tayong magpapabaya. Yung panawagan ng gobyerno to Secretary Teodoro, magkaisa ay atin pong gawin. Walang humawa, wala pong nagkaisa. Pag nagkawatak-watak, mas mahirap. Tsaka nakakaya sa buong mundo. Ang buong mundo sumusuporta na sa atin o marami ng parte ng malaking bansa sa buong mundo sumusuporta na sa atin. Tapos tayo mga Pilipino naghahati-hati. Di ba nakakaya? Abangan natin yung operational matter kung anong gagawin nila. Huwag nating pangunahan ng gobyerno. Kaya kayo umaga sabi ko nga, nung mag-live tayo, marami silang gagawin, huwag natin pangunahan. Ayan, nagsalita na sila. Pero nakiusap. Maraming tanong yung media. Talagang trabaho ng media. Huwag kayo magalit sa media dahil media rin ako. Ang media talaga ang trabaho magtanong na magtanong. Kahit alam na yung sagot, itatanong pa rin. Kasi importante yung official lang talakayan. So, sinagot, tinanong, hindi pwede ang operational matter. Top secret. Ayan, salamat po. Sana naintindihan nyo. Okay? Tayo po ay sana ay maging malasakit sa ating pamilya, sa ating mga anak, sa ating mga magiging apo, sa magiging lahing Pilipino. Kung kayo galit sa gobyerno ngayon, kung galit kayo sa presidente ngayon, kalimutan muna ninyo yan. Ang inyong isa lang alang, kinabukasan ng lahing Pilipino o ng magiging anak at apo. Para naman hindi kayo masumbatan pagdating ng araw na kayo sa pera nakatingin pro-China samantalang inaagawan tayo. Ayan yan. Okay? So napahaba na tayo. 39 minutes na. Emergency po. Itong ating live dito ho sa ating channel ngayong anong oras na? 4 na po ng hapon. Okay. Tabayan ninyo. At bukas na umaga, kita-kita ulit tayo. Marami hong nangyayari. Marami pang reaksyon. Ang China, mayroon pong reaksyong nakakagalit lalo. Bukas paparinig ko sa inyo. Papaliwanag ko sa inyo. Salamat po. God is good all the time. Lord, save the Philippines. Lord, save the Philippines. Ayan, importante. God is good all the time. Okay? Salamat po. Oras ng merienda. Yung iba naman ay kagigising lang siguro, matutulog pa lang sa Amerika ang Canada, sa Europe at saka Middle East. Naku, umaga sa kanila. Ay tayo ng 5 hours, di ba? At dito sa mga bansang kapitbahay. Okay lang natin. Salamat po sa inyong pagsama sa ating Mike Abe Opinions. Magsama-sama tayo. Pakishare po ninyo itong video ito, lalo yung mga sinabi ng Malacanang, para makarating sa lahat ng lahing Pilipino o kahit yung mga employer nyo. Yung po mga employer, mga OFW sa maraming lugar sa mundo, ibigay po ninyo, iparinig po ninyo sa inyong mga employer o kaibigan para yung global awareness ay tuloy-tuloy para humalaman, di ba? Ng mga taong sa buong mundo na tayo inaargabyado ng malaking bansa. Sinasadya na, intentional na ang ibig sabihin.